Shalom and welcome, all my brothers and sisters. How do we know that Judaism stands apart from all the world's religions, and why lumping Judaism into all world religions doesn't really work? All religions and belief systems have a beginning foundation of God spoke to me, or I had a vision, and me alone had this vision. No one else was with me. Whether it's, I'm not going to name any names because I'm not trying to use this video for any disrespect. If you're studying world religions, you want to lump all religions together, you'll always find this same starting point for every religion. One person says, God spoke to me, I had a vision, don't ask anybody because only I had this vision and no one else. Now what about Judaism? You'll be shocked to know when you actually do your research and read the Torah itself. In the Torah states that this all began when God spoke to the entire nation of Israel. Approximately 3 million men, women, and children all heard the voice of God say, "Hello, I'm God." Every man, woman, and child, elder, stranger, all among Israel, heard God say and present himself as God himself. For example, in Exodus chapter 19, verse 8 and 9, God states, I'm going to come to you, Moses, in the sight of all the people, so that they will hear when I speak with you, and then they will believe in you forever. He doesn't say, I'm going to come to you alone, and then you give my message to the people. He says, I'm going to come to the entire people and present myself. And that's exactly what happens. All the people of Israel hear God giving the commandments, witnessing the spectacle. All the nation. Now, if you go to any major university or listen to what the university professors are teaching about Judaism and lumping all the religions of Abrahamic faiths, for example, all together, they basically teach the same thing. No. Moses, he heard the 10 Commandments. That's what happened. Or somebody made up the Torah and gave it to a bunch of idiots in a town and said, a long time ago, your ancestors heard God speak, but don't bother telling anybody, because if you go to ask your mom and dad or your grandparents, they won't know nothing about it. Why is that? Well, the real reason is because I just invented it. But he has to have a gap story and say, long ago, at the foot of a mountain, Moses and your ancestors heard God speak. But then the tradition was lost for many hundreds of years until I have come to, quote unquote, relaunch the Israelite belief system, Judaism. Now, here's where the problem lies. This is what every major university is teaching. Somebody made it up and sold it off to a people and lied about this mass revelation, the only mass revelation in all of world history. It doesn't exist anywhere in any faith or any belief that God spoke to an entire people, or even a bunch of people. Heck, 10 people. It's a strange phenomenon that has never happened in all of history, only once. But the professors are teaching that no, somebody made it up, presented it to a bunch of people, and they bought it hook, line, and sinker. Now this is where the problem lies. In all of Jewish history, if you look through every testimony of all Jewish history, religious testimony, there is records for every name of every teacher going all the way back to Moses at Mount Sinai. Not a single name is missing. There is not a single record of any missing gap. Now, what would a Jew tell you today? A religious Jew, if you walked up to them, they would tell you, how did this all begin? They would say, there was Moses, the people, then there was a gap, and then there was this unknown blank person, the cult leader, the guy who lied about Judaism. But there is no such thing in all of Jewish history. There is no story of a crisis where the Torah was lost for hundreds and hundreds of years. And most surprisingly, there is no cult leader. He doesn't exist. You'll never find him. There is no Gap and there is no Fred. It just goes all the way back to Moses at Mount Sinai and the whole nation of Israel. And finally, the Torah makes a prediction. The Torah makes a prediction in the 4th chapter of Deuteronomy. It states there that this would only happen one time in history. Only once would God ever reveal himself to an entire nation, that you may know what the truth is for all time. And if we look back at all world history and all religious history, there is not a single religious belief that ever dared claim that God spoke to even a bunch of people, even 10 people, 20, 50, let alone 3 million people. Only once. Now, if we found ever in history that any group of people said God spoke to all of us, 30, 100, 2,000, you could take the Torah and you could throw it in the garbage because you know that the author was a liar. Only once in history. Now, who would write that in a book? Who would be stupid enough to do that? That would be the stupidest thing to put in a book. Because as soon as that happens, you'll know that it was a lie and you could throw it in the garbage. It was a national revelation in front of the entire nation of Israel. The interesting thing is that all world religions, Abrahamic faiths, they might hate the Jewish people or not like them or disagree with them or neither. They might be loving. One thing, they will disagree. Muslims will disagree with the Jewish people. Christians will disagree with the Jewish people. Christians will not read the Quran to study from it. They do not consider it holy. The Muslims will not read the Christian Greek Testament because they don't believe it's holy or the Word of God. But yet Christians and Muslims would not dare ever question that Torah. They do not question the event at Mount Sinai. So the Torah stands apart. It is from God. There is no question. And if it's not, and you still believe that it's not from God, then you have to ask yourself, where is the cult liar? Where is he? What is his name? Where is the gap? Judaism is the truth. God spoke to the entire nation of Israel. And we have been here as a testament to follow the one true Elohim that left the evidence for all his major stories, whether the Exodus, Noah's Ark, Sodom and Gomorrah. It's all real and there's all evidence for it. And I hope this video was helpful and encouraging in your journey. Shalom.